Okay, we ready to begin? Let's call to order our work session for Tuesday, January 27th. And first up on our agenda is a discussion about the Bountiful concert series, and Tyson is going to start our presentation.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Happy to come tonight before you to talk about our concert series, and excited about this opportunity to talk about one of the great community events that we have in Bountiful. Just a little bit of context is with the Bountiful concert series, we have Richard Watson, who has been so instrumental in carrying out this concert series and Richard had to correct me. He says the concert series has been going on for 17 years now, and he's been there every step of every minute of every day in this concert series. So we really do value these concert series and the opportunity it provides us to bring the community together and provide a great community benefit at no cost and at a no charge cost, I should say. And so we're happy to talk through this and get some feedback from the council and mayor about the future of the concert series and what you would like us to see. Obviously, the concert series has changed over these 17 years, and as staff, we wanted to just bring it back to the council and get your opinion, your thoughts, because obviously times are a little bit more challenging than they used to be for the concert series. So wanted to make sure we touch base again with the council on your policy and your direction for the future of the concert series. So just a little bit of background. The Bountiful Community Service Council has tasked Richard to carry out this monumental task of creating these concert series. The general idea was to be self-sustaining, and so a fundraiser concert was the idea to earn the money sufficient to then cover the cost of any artist fees and setup fees and get the concert series kind of at a break even. That has proven challenging over the years, and as discussed in the staff reports, the main fundraising concert for many years was the Barjay Wranglers. That brought in a decent amount of ticket sales and was able to bring in quite a bit of the needed revenue for the concert series, along with sponsorships. So Richard has not only been getting all of the events together and the artists, but he's also been pounding the streets trying to get sponsorships for the concert series. So needless to say, we do owe a lot of gratitude to Richard for his free service all of these years. But a little bit more context is in 2021, and again, another correction thanks to Richard, December of 2021 was the final year that the Barjay Wranglers were able to perform that concert because they retired and moved on. So since then, Richard has been continuing to try and get fundraising concerts in the December timeframe and then again in the spring. Those are still great concerts, great events. Unfortunately, they've not been able to bring in the same amount of revenue, ticket sale revenue that the Barjay Wranglers were able to bring in. So wanted to just briefly touch base on the concert series revenue and expenses for the past 10 years. And kind of, again, the structure for those that may not be aware is the fundraising and the sponsorships provide the opportunity to pay for artist fees, setup fees for 6 to 10 concerts in the summertime and fall. So, and just on average, there were 6 to 8 sponsors each year and averaging about $4,000 in sponsorship revenue each year. So the concert series itself, so just a couple graphics there of the music, and we kind of, Richard has kind of dubbed it the Music in the Park Concert Series and been marketing it that way. So looking at the brief revenue history for the past 10 years at least, you can see that we were only in the black in fiscal year 2024 and in 2022. So again, this is the fiscal year columns rather than calendar years. So in fiscal year 2022, that was the final year, the final fiscal year of the Bar J Wranglers, and that final retirement concert was probably the biggest of all of the concerts that Bar J Wrangler put on. So that year was a great year for us. And then in fiscal year 2024, we had Toast do the spring concert series, or the spring fundraising in that year, and that I could tell, and maybe Richard might need to correct me on this one, but I could not see that Toast charged us for their services that year. So is that correct, Richard?
They did the ticket sales themselves, so
Mhm.
they took it out of their ticket sales.
They took it out of the ticket sales. Okay. Well, that year was a banner year for Toast then, because when we've had them the other time, it hasn't been as profitable as that specific year, at least from a revenue perspective. So you can see that there have only been those 2 years that we were in the black. All of the other years, it was costing the city money to run the concert series. Again, just trying to provide history of the revenues and expenses of the concert series, and not necessarily trying to infer, that this needs to be discontinued just because it's not running at a break even. Again, that's why we're here to discuss the council's direction. So, if there are no specific questions on the history of the concert series or anything that we might be able to further clarify, I'd like to turn it back to the council and Mayor to get your thoughts, your perspectives. Happy to answer any questions that you might have. But really, as staff, we're wanting to just check in with the council and see your thoughts on the fundraising concerts that have been going on, the expectation on whether the concert series should be breaking even, whether there's a specific budget that the council would feel comfortable with setting for a kind of that ceiling of how much net expenditures we would want. So again, just trying to touch base with the council on where you'd like to see us move forward with this.
Thank you, Tyson. And I think we all would want to just extend a huge thank you to Richard for his many, many, many years of putting on this concert series. The organization, the logistics, the sweating it out in the summer, getting all the equipment set up. It's really been an impressive volunteer effort. So we would be remiss if we didn't really just start off by saying thank you for helping put on this great community event. Council members, what are your thoughts about maybe, because this is a big topic, maybe we can figure out how to break it down and kind of organize it. The staff has given us some questions up here, but maybe we could just even start with like the highest level question, which is there agreement that this is an important community event that we want to see continue? Mm-hmm. Sure.
Tyson, can you peel back a little bit on I don't see the revenues up there and expenses anymore. Can you peel back so we can see just a little bit better on the summer concert expense line? Just help, I'm just not familiar. What is the majority of that each year? Where are we spending most of that money? As we start talking about adjusting or not adjusting, where is that money mostly going?
Yeah, great question. So the majority is the artists themselves, paying for the artists. Each time it's about $1,000 setup fee and rental of the sound equipment. And so, yeah, the majority of it is marketing the concert and then actually paying the artists themselves.
So simply reducing the number of concerts would impact this dramatically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And Richard brought up a great point. Over the years, acquiring good talent has become more expensive, and the concerts themselves have just, the cost has continued to rise because getting good quality concerts it costs money now. Well, I should say it's always cost money, just a little bit more. So.
And then on the revenue line, so this $39.90 that's on the spreadsheet that we got, so that was our just recent concert, the revenue. That's what we got out of the
The holiday concert.
the
at
holiday
Christmas.
concert, that's it.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. I did mean to talk about that. So yes, with the Vocalocity concert that we held back in December of '25, that one, you're right. It was 3,900 in ticket sales, and then we paid 4,500. Or excuse me, that number I did not update. It's actually 5,500 because we had that $1,000 payment for the rentals.
So we lost
So
money on
We
that
lost
one.
$1,500 on that fundraising concert.
Any other questions on numbers or things like that, or is everyone comfortable with, we start with kind of the broad question about the summer concert series?
I do have one more question, if you don't mind, for Tyson. Where has the money, what budget has the money been coming from?
The legislative budget,
Okay,
out of the general fund, yeah, to be specific.
thanks.
Okay, any other questions?
Mayor, I don't have a question right now, but I do think that this is a worthwhile endeavor, and I'd like to see it continue in some form that resembles what it currently is.
Okay.
Meaning not necessarily cut back drastically and without a great burden for fundraising put on Mr. Watson.
Mayor, I agree. I think this is really important in the community. It's well attended. People love it. And thank you, Richard, for all you've done over the years. I feel like if we could come up with something tonight to make it work, yes, I think it ought to continue.
Okay. Councilmembers Murray or Bell, any overall thoughts on the concert series, keeping it as is versus a different size or some other changes?
For me, I've been trying to think of how would you just we benefit from it, and I'm looking at what is the cost it is to the community. We all benefit from it. It creates a community atmosphere, brings people together. I go to them, and it's always amazing at how many people show up. It's a great night. And I'm trying just to stay short on that question, and then I have other thoughts I'll share later.
Just out of curiosity, I have been, but what do you think on average we get? How many people?
I don't
Guesses,
know the answer to
Richard?
that one.
It grows every year, so I think last year we probably averaged around 1,000. But some, depends on the concert, some will attract 2,000 people. So.
And we have 9? Is that what we said? 9 per year?
6 to 10.
6 to 10?
Yeah, and correct me if I'm
What
wrong on this, Richard. So 2005, at least the advertisement showed 10, and 2004 had 9.
And what determines that number?
Just a clarification though, because I did place some other. Let's have Richard come to the mic.
Yeah, please.
If you notice on those posters right there, there's some concerts that are not ours, like Handcart Days, and I think one year we put up the Delane England's Liberty, what is that, Constitution concert. So, so I try to involve other concerts on our posters, just kind of, and mostly because I'm on Handcart Days too, so that's what.
Help advertise. Okay.
So, and we've never had 10 concerts, so I'd like to clarify that. I think the most we've ever had is 8, so it's always 6 to 8. So.
I am supportive of the idea. I'm wondering, can it be tinkered with a little bit? And I just don't know how many. I don't know if we don't have 8 per year, if it makes, I don't know, if not have them every week, because it seems like quite often during the summer they're quite frequent, which is great. I'm wondering, does that cause a problem that people forget about them? And
That's-
Depends on the calendar year. Sorry. Depends on the calendar year if who we can get. And I always make extra reservations through Brock Hill, but we don't use every single date either. So we usually try to average around 7. That's, some years of it has only been 6, so. And if you want to come back, we already have 5 right now, so.
Mayor, I would just say I am supportive. I mean, I don't think it has to be a moneymaker, that's for sure. And there's a lot of benefits that I see that come from it, but I do think we ought to be looking at ways to not go as deep as we are into the hole.
Thank you. I would agree that I think this is a really important event for our community. People look forward to it. I also think there's probably some method to the magic of having it be frequent enough that people consider it as their automatic Friday night summer plan, that it's something you can count on. If it was, kind of 1 this month, 2 the next, and it wasn't as routine, I think our attendance might suffer. So I think there is something to having it run in a known schedule so that residents get really used to it, and it's a really comfortable, easy event. Okay, so sounds like we have really broad agreement, so then it kind of working our way through some of these questions. The December fundraiser concert, since the Bar J Wranglers decided to ride off into the sunset, we've kind of struggled to find the right thing that draws in the community during a busy season. Is that something that we should continue, or should we be looking at different opportunities to fundraise? Should we continue to look at opportunities to fundraise?
May I?
Please.
I think that December is so busy that it's going to be difficult, lacking some iconic draw like the Bar J Wranglers to get people out. I think that our last couple of years have shown that it's hard to find a good money-making headliner for that concert. Maybe we just go with the spring concert, as Richard has said might be a good idea.
Other thoughts on this question?
So I texted Richard in December. I attended a Ryan Shoup Christmas concert, and it was packed. It was up at Roy High School. And Ryan Shoup has a following that they follow him around and they wave corn dogs when he sings the corn dog song, which he has a Christmas version of the corn dog song. Do you know what I'm talking about? The corn? Oh, you'll have to listen. But I think if we could get, like, Bar J was such a great tradition. People looked forward to Bar J. They would open their calendar for that. I feel like if we could get Ryan Shoup or even Jenny Oaks Baker every year, then people could know that that's coming up. But I think it really has to be the right fit. I put those two out there because I know that they bring in a lot of people. I've seen both of them perform in multiple places, and it's packed. So I think that if we're going to do a December fundraiser, it probably needs to be consistent, and we need to bring someone in that we know fills the seats.
Okay. Additional thoughts on December and the fundraiser concert?
I can only speak for myself, obviously, but every year that comes around, even before I was on the council, and I totally tune it out because December's so busy. So I immediately do not consider it. So that's just one view. So I kind of wonder if another time period might be better if that's how we're going to raise money, which I think is a good way.
Councilman Murray, any thoughts on December?
December, I agree. December's hard. It gets busier and busier every year, unfortunately.
I think I would say I would fall somewhere in between. The December is often just incredibly packed. That being said, we have some family traditional things we do and fit in because they are a real, high-level traditional event. I suspect, though, that to get someone like that, we're also going to have to pay more. And so then our ability to get a margin for our fundraiser might be a challenge. Maybe, Richard, do you have thoughts on whether you're willing to focus more on a fundraiser concert at a different time, or whether you have strong thoughts on December?
Like Beth was saying, Ryan Shoup probably would bring in, but they are not cheap. So I know I priced them. I think a year ago they were over $10,000. So we could bring in other big names, but it still would be hard to bring them in. A lot of problems we have with big names is this proximity clause that they have. If they're playing in Salt Lake, they can't play here. So that's part of the problems we run into. So I'm okay if we drop Christmas, but if we concentrate on spring where we can get big names who have open dates then. So, and just plug now, March 28th is Carpenter's Platinum. So we have them scheduled to come in. So
Thank you. I did note that, and put it in a newsletter. Okay. Tyson, do you feel like that helps answer that top question for you?
Yes, very much, thank you.
And then, so our next question then is our concert budget, and whether this is a series that we think should cover its costs, mostly cover its costs, or not. Feedback for our staff and team on that question.
Mayor, can
Our
I
city manager, yes.
maybe make an observation? For years, the idea was that the Bar J Wranglers would generate a certain amount of revenue, and then that the difference would be made up with the general fund subsidy from the city. Essentially, we've done that. I think the only change is that the amount of subsidy from the general fund has increased over the years. But the model works pretty well. I think we would like to continue to encourage fundraising, and perhaps the way to do this is to set a budget, which we could set during the budget process, but somewhere similar to where we're at now. And then with a goal of fundraising, say, I think on average, we're trying to get around close to $10,000 net revenues. And then if we're unsuccessful in that, then we can look at either amending the budget during the budget process or reducing the number of concerts for that year. But I think it would be helpful for Richard to know and for us to know an expenditure target and maybe a fundraising target, and then adjust from there.
And so remind us, so if we had a fundraising target of $10,000, then our proposed city budget match is 20?
So probably 25.
Okay.
So for a total concert budget of around $35,000. And I'm just throwing that out there based on kind of where we've been.
Mr. Hill, are you comfortable with a $25,000 subsidy?
Well, we've been doing it. So yes, I don't think it hurts us. I think what we want to know is make sure that to make sure we're all comfortable doing it, if that makes sense. We'd be fine with that.
Okay.
So Councilman Higginson, are you fine with continuing that level, or?
I really am. If fundraising is not as successful, then maybe we scale back either the number of concerts or the cost of the bands that we invite. And if fundraising is wildly successful, then we get Styx or Foreigner or somebody else to come in. And, those real classic, high-quality rock bands.
From a certain decade?
From a certain decade.
Okay.
I'm really comfortable with 25,000 if that is our set contribution going forward.
Okay. Anyone else want to offer an opinion on the budget amounts and goals?
I'm comfortable with that. I think it's money well spent.
Good.
Councilmember Bell, down there lonely on the end.
The lonely guy. I don't know that I'm comfortable or uncomfortable. I don't know enough, so I'll trust my fellow colleagues and our good city manager. So if that's what you say is what we can do, and that's what we've been doing, and I'm comfortable, I guess-ish.
Can I ask a few questions, Tyson, about, and also for Richard? You know, so we've had a fundraiser concert, and there's been, I think, some direct outreach to area businesses. Have we thought about other ways to fundraise, perhaps, you know, doing more with food trucks or other things like that?
Yeah, for my part, I'm very new to this, so I don't know exactly what opportunities we've explored in the past, and I don't know whether Gary wants to comment on that one.
After you, I have a comment.
It's been pretty traditional, I'm looking at Richard, but it's been pretty traditional fundraising, corporate sponsors, trying to beat the bushes a little bit and invite your friends to donate too. We used to have a few core businesses that sponsored that don't anymore, if I recall, Richard. And
That's correct. So this year, back in the summer, I put on Just Serve. I was looking for a sponsorship coordinator to help me find sponsors, find some sponsors. Well, that hasn't been very successful. I guess no one likes to look for sponsors. I don't know. But I look at some of the other venues around, along the Wasatch Front that offer free concerts, and they do have a list of sponsors. And so it's been kind of frustrating for me, and I would like to see us get some more sponsors. But it does take a lot of time, and it is tough for one guy to do it. And that's why I was looking for a coordinator to help me do that. So if we could, and bless Mayor Kendallin, a few years ago, we tried to put a committee together, but those volunteers didn't pan out. So if we can still find a way to get committee members, I think that would help find more sponsors, because that would help our concerts a lot. So any ideas on getting sponsorships? I'm very open to that, so.
So that's maybe an idea to file away for the Service Council on how we make assignments and ask for assistance there. Want to recognize that Richard really has been a one-man band.
It'd be interesting too to see how the Bountiful Service Committee could help, because they would benefit from some of this. So to see how we can find a unified focus where they all participate a little bit more as well to help make that more successful.
And are we, from a city staff perspective, are we providing materials in the way of an invite to donate letter and tax information so that any donors would know that they would receive an ability to do a deduction for those donations?
Yeah, I'm not sure what's happened in the past, but that is easily something that we can provide. Not a problem at all.
Like what we do with the trails, have a separate fund or something like that that residents can donate.
Maybe one idea is we arm Richard and whatever team with a letter inviting people to donate, explaining the series, so that it feels like it's as connected to the city as it is intended to be in terms of inviting people to donate.
Mayor, one other comment, just before I forget, is the word location continues to come in my mind of how can we continue something where we know there's a potential loss, but at the same time increase the ripple effect that it brings when you bring people into one spot. And I know we've been doing it in the Bountiful Park down on 4th North and 2nd West, but have moving some of the concerts up to the town square. We'll have Lucky Slice open. We'll have food trucks on Friday. We have a lot of other things going on with the Main Street merchants, especially on the first Friday of the month, and maybe that's what we do is first Friday of the month or that day we do something at town square. But with the amount of people that come to those concerts, it's the ripple effect of now they're down in a spot where they can go get an ice cream, they can grab a piece of pizza, they can do the food trucks while still doing the concert. And so it's not, it may be a loss on an accounting sheet, but the ripple effect of what it brings to everyone around that area, it increases.
I think that's a really good point. From my involvement on Summerfest and some other events, one challenge we have is a lack of shade at the town square. The trees are still baby trees, where they're very mature at 4th North Park. And then the other is the water feature. It's, I think where we put that stage is kind of a blessing and a curse for performers, with the kids in and out
It
of
could
the
be
water feature.
that one night we shut it off so that it's not, I mean, I think it is unfortunate the sun part, but it's a potential asset that we can invest more in. And with all the other investments that we're talking about, just creating that magnet and that opportunity to get people, it'll give us an opportunity too as a city to see where do we have gaps. If this was to grow, if we wanted to do more at the town square, what other gaps do we foresee in parking or bathroom, all that other stuff that we could start planning for in the future as we want to make Main Street a different focal point than what it is today.
Maybe we could ask Richard for feedback on location.
Couple of points. That town square, it's a nice setup, but it is small, and the stage is facing the sun, and bands do not like that. They don't like to be in the sun because especially during July, it gets a little warm. Also, my thought on that town square has always been we could hold our concerts at 4th North, but maybe the Main Street merchants could support a town square concert. And I know they've talked about festivals before, so that's something we could plan in the future. But having those concerts in the 4th North Park, people still go and get ice cream afterwards. And all the ice cream places, except maybe Baskin's, all the other ice cream places are filled with people after the concerts. And I hit every one of them to check them out. So there's that, so.
Hey, Mayor, you made a comment about a fundraiser letter, sending that. Who would that go to? Can you expand on your thinking on that? Is that just all the citizens, or what were you?
Well, I guess there's probably two thoughts. As Councilmember Murray mentioned, on the Trails page, there is a standing link and QR code, so anyone could go on and donate it at any point, a large amount or a small amount. But the second thought I was having is perhaps there's kind of a donor packet that is made. Other organizations that I'm involved with, when they're targeting donors, will have a packet, and sometimes those packets will have a letter from, for instance, the mayor or the chair or some prominent people to say, we invite you to donate, and here are the reasons to, and here are the benefits. So it's kind of laid out in a donor packet to make it easy.
Okay. I sometimes do wonder just how residents would feel, because they feel like this is such a good benefit. I do think they really do like it. Those who go really do like this. And I wonder how they would feel if they were asked to pay for it now. So
Yeah.
I'm going to,
There may be an easy way if, the Trails Committee has done a great job with their donation page and then a QR code for Trail Days, that maybe if we simply invite residents using a QR code to donate at a concert.
And then I'm going to retract what I said before and be a little bit firmer. I fully support this.
Noted.
So I'm good with this, and I know we can do this in the budget, makes sense to do it, so
And I see that
that's a little more clear.
Richard had his hand raised that he wanted to share some thoughts there.
So I was going to mention how those other venues have their sponsor list. They also include on that sponsor list friends or people who contribute. So Mr. and Mrs. Smith donate, and there's usually a break-off like 100, 500, and it lists those names. And so that's something we could do. A good example, Excellence in Concert Series. They have concerts in Ogden and Salt Lake, and they do that with their sponsor pages. You open it up, and there's people's names in there.
So, Mayor, if I can kind of build on what has already been mentioned, one of my thoughts was the QR code. The people who are enjoying the concerts probably ought to help. I think they might feel good about that. And if at the beginning of every concert, we ask for donations, we have a available QR code, maybe put it in the city newsletter, put it on the website. I think if we get a QR code out there, I don't know that that people will think, hey, I'm enjoying this, I ought to contribute. But I think if we make it very easy, if we get the opportunity out there, we could possibly have a good return. I don't know.
Any other questions or feedback you'd like us to address tonight, Tyson, from your list?
No, I think we have great direction. So unless there are other specifics that the council would like us to look into, I think we're good.
Okay, any other ideas? Okay. Then we will shift gears and talk about the Bountiful Library Branch remodel update. And will that be you, Gary, or will that be our library director?
I'll kick it off. I'm gonna invite our library director, Josh Johnson, a Bountiful native, proud Bountiful native, to come to the microphone. But Josh has worked for Davis County for a number of years and has overseen, this is quite a long process to get to here. And we've appreciated the partnership we've had with Josh and the county library to figure out a location and a strategy, and through different funding requirements, through different boards, through different commissioners. Really appreciate the partnership, Josh. And I think this was, all credit goes to you. This was his idea to come to the council and share kind of what the plans are and answer any questions. So with that, Josh, take it away.
Thanks. And many of you probably heard most of what I'm going to tell you or saw it in news articles or on the news recently. So it shouldn't be any hugely new information. I technically could have sent an email, but this is our most well-used branch historically. Kaysville currently kind of vies for that right now, but overall, it's the longest standing, most well-used branch in the library system. And so I feel like I'm meeting with city councils throughout the south end of the county, making sure that everybody knows that, for one, we closed, our first day closed was yesterday. You may have noticed there's a truck parked outside there as you came in. We are moving collections. We're going to store the collections at other branches, so don't worry, they're not getting thrown out. They're going to another branch, and they're going to sit there until someone uses them. That actually is really nice. We've never done it this way before. We found another way to do it with our new software. So we move the collections out of the branch, we push them to the other branches, and so any of the books that you were hoping to find at the branch that's closed will actually be available at another branch, and you can put them on hold. With the exception of, say, a reference collection, which would you'd have to drive to that branch, but the reference collections are actually a lot smaller than they used to be. So overall, let me pull out my phone and give you a couple of notes on my phone are great, except when they're not. I'm sure you all can relate. So we expect 18 to 24 months, so likely a couple of years that will be closed. We do have, the staff have lovingly named our off-site location the Twig. because it's not quite as big. We are in what you all will remember as the old White House, and it's the portion that sold dresses. So we are currently fixing it up just a little bit so that it better meets our needs. And then services that we're planning to have in that location. We're going to try to do as many services as we can. It is an off-site location. It's intended to fill a gap. But there are some services that are and aren't available. So overall, almost everything will be available. Item checkout, pickup, drop-off. We intend to have a book drop. That's a conversation we'll have with Gary in a little while. But when we initially leased the White House, we asked about a place to put a book drop, and it turns out the place that was suggested is actually Cityland. So it makes it a little more complex. But we're working through that, and with our plans, you should receive that if you haven't already. So that's in the works. We are planning on having smaller physical collections. They'll be about half the size of the children's collection. Will be about half the size of the one you would see in Centerville. 6,500 square feet is about half what Centerville's building is. And so half of the children's collection, there'll be somewhat less than that for adult collections and young adult collections. And then about a quarter of the space will be for programming like story times and those sorts of things. We will have to be pretty flexible. This is the first kind of library we've offered in this format, and it's a little bit different for us. And so if you and residents of Bountiful will be a little bit flexible, we'll try to do the same. But the basics are we're giving you what we can give you for the price that we can afford. So all the regular reference and information services, all of there won't be the same number of public internet computers, but 6 of them. Photocopying and printing will still exist, and 3D printing will migrate to the Twig. So the things that won't be there, you won't have an auditorium to reserve. I think people have already been feeling the effects of that. We apologize for that, but we just didn't know when the building was going to have to close, and we didn't want to upset people at a difficult time when it's really busy. So, and then also the conference room won't be available to reserve. Somewhat less of a problem since there was only one small conference room. That will change in the update, I promise. Other than that, are there any questions?
Thank you, Josh, for coming in, and we appreciate that you're coming to give us the update. We hope you'll check in, of course, throughout the process.
Absolutely.
I love the idea of a twig. I like the humorous name to it. I was curious what signage you are potentially going to put outside so that residents know that that's going to be the place and that it's serving a different purpose now.
So an interesting thing is they're in the process of changing ownership, and so we have to get everything approved by the current owner and the future owner. And so, the interesting part about all that is we plan to have stuff up in the windows as though we were a storefront, and then on the back end of things in the parking lot, we do plan to have a banner over the back door. So if there needs to be more, we'll work through that. Again, this is one of those flexible things, but overall, we do intend to either paint or put something up in the windows that make it very clear that we're here and we're here for 2 years. So
Great, because I think you'll be a great tenant there. The other thing I thought I'd just mention is, the Bountiful Davis Art Center is right across the street, and I think it could provide an excellent 2-year opportunity for some really great collaboration opportunities between the fact that they may have space you could use, and obviously they have a lot of children's programming and classes as well, and what a great opportunity to be across the street neighbors.
yeah, we had a brainstorming session a couple weeks ago that actually went really, really well. And I expect there'll be quite a bit of synergy there, so that should be good.
Thank you. Council members, any other questions or comments, feedback for Josh?
None for me.
Josh, thanks for being here. The discussion we had in December touched on potential design elements for the stream front and maybe activating that space as a public use area. What are the latest thoughts on that?
It should be the way it is, only better. So it should still be activated in a lot of the way that it is. Design's not completely finished, so I don't want to make promises, but right now the design includes a patio off I'm losing directions here, off I would say the back of the creek side. And so there should be some interesting opportunities there. And we do intend to make sure that the landscaping kind of flows up into the same trail that people already use. That shouldn't go away at all, and it should be improved. Currently, I believe there's a maze of some kind, a decorative maze. as well. But again, those sorts of design elements come and go depending on costs. So
Sure.
I hate to make promises, but things look very good as far as making sure that that space is walkable and enjoyable by the public down here.
Thank you.
Josh, thanks for being here. Just a comment, not a question, but as you were talking about conference rooms, called back an old memory of sitting in that conference room, studying for my CPA license and reserving that night after night, trying to get in there. And that library has played such a critical role in my family's life, my children and now grandchildren. And so really grateful for all the efforts that are made to move on to this new phase and a new opportunity. So thank you and all that are involved. I'm excited about it. One of the burning questions on Sunday, talking with some of my kids and grandkids, is how are we moving the books? And my daughter, I think, read somewhere about at some point there was a human book chain. And I don't know if it was the Bountiful Library that they originally did that for, or somewhere else.
I think we have done that before. Over the past decade or so, we've kind of honed that a little bit. And there's nothing wrong with a human book chain, but it can be a little unpredictable, if that makes sense. And for those of us that get a little bit squirrely about how books are handled and things, it can be a little tough. Overall, the cool part about this, and I think I mentioned this, is our new software system allows us to sort of let the books breathe out. So we've been gradually pulling some of them off the shelves. Some of you may have noticed that there's some gaps. They move to other libraries, and over the course of the next couple of weeks, we'll actually move most of those to other branches. But yeah, and then when they come back, the nice part is we should technically be able to do the exact same thing. We actually put them on a cart. We organize them on the cart like as if you had returned them, and we check them in and put them on a cart. We do the same thing. We pull them off the shelf in order. We shrink wrap them. We put them in a truck. They never get out of order. We put them back in. So it actually works pretty well. It was developed by my predecessor and her assistant director, and we've just honed that. We have a couple of people who are really, really good at figuring out how many books ought to be on which shelf and the average size, thickness of a book for various collections, children's books and adult books, for instance. You can fit an awful lot more children's books on a shelf. So,
Well, it feels like we're in good hands, and I can go home and answer.
Please.
Thank you. But we're excited and appreciate all the efforts that are being
Yeah,
made.
I
It's a
appreciate
great
that.
day for Bountiful, for sure, to get this started.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any last comments, questions?
Mayor, there is one more uncomfortable question, and I think I'm probably the person to ask it,
Excellent.
if I might.
Hold on, let me hold on, so I'm ready.
Josh, will the remodel go deep enough to remove the bad smell in the library?
You may not be surprised to know that was maybe the first question we asked the architect when they talked about perhaps doing a remodel. So it's interesting. Some people smell it very strongly. Other people, when I tell them about it, they have no idea what I'm talking about. It's a really odd quirk of the building. But if we can't get it out by going down to the concrete, people say the studs. I don't know that it really has studs, but it is brick and concrete. And we're actually going to go so far as to remove the roof and do seismic upgrades. The HVAC systems are being repaired, remodeled, renovated, I guess is the right word, but reinstalled with modern equipment. The carpet's being removed. So any of the things that we have thought and tried to figure out what it was will go. And so if there's a smell there, I might have to blame residents. I'm teasing. I'm not serious. But I think overall, we're going to do everything we can do to make sure that it smells the way it should. There is always going to be a little bit of an old book smell in that building. And that's because we have a bunch of old books in it sometimes, depending on which book and how long it's been there. And some people like that smell, and some people cannot stand it. So,
I love
but
old books.
it's not an uncomfortable question. We have asked that question every time we've had an opportunity for the same reason that you're asking it, and it's very off-putting.
Thank
So,
you.
if it helps, all of the libraries have a little bit of a different feel and smell to them. In Layton, because of the way that the HVAC works, very often there's a smell that comes up off the creek that just comes right in through the HVAC. So it just depends on the building. But in this case, yeah, we definitely are working on that. That's definitely on our radar.
Thank you so much. And no gavel.
You managed to ask the question that we all experience and have felt,
But
so good job, thank you.
I got to be honest with you. If there are other uncomfortable questions, I'm definitely open to that. Whatever you guys want to know. So
No, I think that was our only one for tonight. Okay, thank you, Josh. We look forward to updates. We look forward to coming to visit the Twig and that you'll be hanging out on
Oh,
a
I've
different part of
forgotten.
Main Street.
2nd of March is when we plan to have a soft opening because we don't know for sure which services will be up by the 2nd. Primarily internet is our concern.
We
We're
do
gonna
encourage Bountiful Fiber, just FYI.
Yes, we get UEN for free, so we probably will go with UEN.
Okay.
But barring that, we'll have to figure something out. But the idea is that by the middle of March, we're planning on the 16th grand opening. We've learned the lesson that people need to know what's going on and know that it's open. And so, yeah, you should plan on that. If it changes, if there's alterations, I'll let you know, but that's the current plan. So,
Yeah, please keep us updated. I'm sure many of us would like to be there if schedules allow and help celebrate the Twig.
I will let you know.
Thank you. Okay,
Thanks.
we will take a short break so that we can reset for our council meeting. Thank you.